Absolutely. Well, look, thank you all for being here and for that kind introduction. And I'm going to start us off with a little bit of a reflection on the economics. So, as James Carville, uh, Bill Clinton's political strategist in the 1990s, used to say, it's the economy stupid. Why is the high street struggling? Well, it's impossible to get away from some of those economic fundamentals. I can give you a kind of microcosm example. I grew up in a small post-industrial town in northeast Wales. I go home a few times a year, and I find that the high street is completely desolate. All the banks have gone, all the cafes have gone. People don't have the disposable income to spend their time there. I visited a friend the other day who lives just off the Northcote Road in Clapham, which some of you may know. Guess what? It's thriving. And the reason for that is an economic question. In places like Clapham, people simply have the disposable income to go and spend their time at physical shops. They have not just the economic means, but they have the time. Lest we forget that leisure time is not a luxury that everybody can necessarily afford. So we're thinking here about in that part of the world, younger graduates, single people or young couples who don't necessarily have some of the time pressures, which also prevent people from coming to the high street. Guess what? If you're busy raising children, you might find that it's much easier and cheaper to order your clothing off Amazon rather than going out and spending lots of time on the high street. So I think the shape of our economy is something that we can't escape. For businesses in particular, I think about high energy prices. We have some of the highest business energy prices in Europe. For industrial energy prices, which certainly aren't necessarily a measure for your kind of boutique high street store, but which nevertheless give us a broad indicator of where the UK's energy landscape stands. We have the highest in the G7 and the highest in Europe. For lots of businesses, keeping the lights on is a simple problem that fundamentally underwrites all of their other difficulties. So the economics, I think it's very, very difficult to get away from. While we don't have a growing economy which rewards entrepreneurialism, which has sufficiently low energy prices that businesses can get on, we're really going to struggle to have thriving high streets. Guess what? It's no surprise that in the areas where broader economic decline has been deepest since 2008, high street decline has followed pretty much concurrently. This is very closely linked to the broader growth environment. But the other point is a point on economic choice, because this economic environment, this low growth, sluggish economy, is not happening in a vacuum. It's also happening in a world of digitalization, where more services are going online, and in fact, not just are going online, have gone online. In fact, Amazon now is a reality. It's not a burgeoning or nascent trend, and we are asking businesses now to compete with businesses like Amazon. Our high street businesses are now competing for attention, for time, and for resources with Amazon. And guess what? We're tying their hands behind their backs as we do so. We have some of the highest business rates in Europe. Amazon, guess what, doesn't pay business rates. Right? It's not a physical store. You're not competing on an even footing. Again, energy prices. Yes, Amazon has enormous energy prices, but there's a centralized inside of a kind of international mega corporation. We're forcing small businesses, often family run, often just a couple of people with an idea and a skill, to stump up some of the highest energy costs anywhere. And we at the Adam Smith Institute have recently conducted some research on pubs and nightlife in particular. And nowhere is this truer than in the case of pubs. We're asking pubs now to compete with cheaper supermarket alcohol, with not smoking whatsoever. There are changing approaches to lifestyle and how people choose to spend their time. And it's not just business rates for pubs, it's energy prices. It's also then alcohol taxes. It's local alcohol levies that you have in some parts of London. We are asking services to stump up more of their money for fixed costs and taxation, rather than spending that money on growing their businesses, making themselves more attractive, etc. And we wonder why people are choosing not to frequent their high street businesses. I'll give you a kind of a stat to leave you with, which is, as a publican, you may already know, the median margin for a UK pub last year was 4%. As median. So by definition, half are making less than 4%, half are making more than 4%. We're seeing thousands of pub closures a year. And we also conducted a bit of research as part of our broader story on pubs about why people were choosing to go out and drink less. And there is this narrative. It's young people who are not so interested in drinking anymore, changing social attitudes. We found that the overwhelming reason that people drink less is because it costs too much. Why does it cost too much? Again, it's those fixed costs. It's the broader shape of the economy. It's energy prices, it's taxation, it's regulation, it's levies, it's all of these different things. As a young person now, the idea of a pub crawl where you go out and drink 8 pints, you spend £100. That's, at a minimum in London. That's a real economic investment. If we really want to tackle this stuff, I think there's absolutely more we need to do in terms of thinking about what a modern high street looks like. We need to think more about urban design and architecture and infrastructure. Those things are all absolutely key, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that from some of our other panelists and from you in the audience. But what I kind of want to underscore the discussion with is the sense that there's no getting away from the fundamental economics of this. If high street businesses can't survive, if they don't have a business environment that welcomes and rewards them for providing a good product to customers, guess what? Those businesses will go bust. I'll leave it there.
Great.